Hey everybody, this is the OMAD Dad. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, a channel that is dedicated to living the OMAD lifestyle or eating one meal a day. Well, today I want to take a little bit different of a spin, and I want to talk about frugality while on your OMAD way of eating. One of the benefits, other than really great weight loss while adapting an OMAD way of eating, is that you will save a lot of money on your grocery bill. And naturally so. I mean, when you think about it, you're eating about a third of what you normally would. You're not eating 3 meals, you're eating 1 meal, and you're not snacking, and you're not drinking your calories. So that eliminates a lot, and you save a lot of money. But if for some of us, for whatever reasons they are, you may want to take it a little bit of a step further and try and save even more money. Now, on this channel, I'm all about longevity. I'm all about eating as healthy as you can, although I'm not a monk and I don't encourage other people to be. We still can make really great choices. However, if we don't have to do this and spend a fortune either. So today I want to go over 7 of probably my best tips on how to make your OMAD a little bit more affordable and a little cheaper and save even more money. And this is perfect if you find yourself in those situations where you need to stretch the budget out a little bit, or maybe you need to save up for something and you're looking for ways to cut down, and this will hopefully definitely help you. All right, so number 1 is find whatever grocery store or stores that you like to shop at in your area and shop the sales flyer. Most of these are available online now. I have a Stop and Shop over here at home, and they have an app, and I can go online and look at a digital flyer whenever I want, and I base a lot of my menus off of that. I work as a chef, and in the restaurant, what we do is oftentimes our food providers excuse me, will email or tell us about certain specials, things that they want to get rid of, and sometimes what we do is we base our weekly specials off of that. Not all the time, and sometimes we want to bring in something special and we almost don't care about what the cost is. But you should kind of try to do that as well. You go in and you say, oh, okay, wow, there's a really great sale on, I don't know, maybe chicken or veal today or whatever. Don't let it pass up. And look at the flyers, and so that and then this way here you can better navigate the store instead of just willy-nilly going around and going in circles and not really knowing what's available and what you should be getting. Number 2, avoid recipes that require too many ingredients. It's great when you see all of these recipes on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or I know there's a lot like Delish, Tasty, a lot of different sub websites that pop up on Facebook about who's making this, or maybe you saw something in a magazine or online somewhere. And the problem with that is you get all of those ingredients. If you don't use every single bit of it for that dish that you're making, you now have to repurpose and utilize that somewhere before it goes bad, which may be okay. But you also have to consider the leftovers of that dish that you're making that you're also going to have to finish. And when you're eating 1 meal a day, it becomes a lot harder. So I try to avoid recipes that have a ton of ingredients or stuff that I know that I'm only going to use for that one recipe and probably will never use again before it goes bad. Because you're just wasting money, and it's just a waste. And of course, there's always exceptions, and it's fine to make something as a treat for a special or occasion, a treat or a meal. But generally, I try to avoid the very lengthy recipes if you're going to be cooking any of your OMADs at home. Number 3, know when to utilize your freezer. Especially when it comes to meat, if there's a really good sale, then I will go out and I won't overdo it, but I will buy enough meat. I just had a good run the other day, and I picked up a whole bunch of chicken, picked up a bunch of breakfast sausage, pork loin roast, and a pork butt. and they were all really, really cheap. It was a really great deal. I couldn't pass it up. And my freezer was pretty much empty. I only had a few things in there, so I really kind of needed to restock anyway. So when you see a really great deal, know when to stock up. What I do is I like to kind of break everything down, the big packages, portion everything out. So when you take stuff out of the freezer, you want a meal, or you're thinking of it a day or two ahead of time, it's already pre-portioned, it's already bagged. You're not having to defrost the whole thing, break it down, and then forcing yourself to utilize the rest of it or try to refreeze it, which would damage it anyway. Uh, when I do this too, is another important tip. Um, Now my freezer's pretty well stocked up. I'm not going to go to the store again or look to buy more things until my freezer's pretty much empty. You don't want to become a hoarder with this. A lot of people have so much crap in their freezer, and after they go to clean it out one day, and they saw that special roast or something that they just needed to have because it was on sale, that's now a year and a half old, and they have to throw away. So be smart with it, but know when to utilize your freezer. Number 4, grow your own food. You It's a misconception to think that you need acres of land to be able to have a garden. Well, you don't. A lot of people have a garden that live in a very urban setting. You could put a few plants and vegetables and things like that in containers. It doesn't really take that much space. There are certain things that really grow well. Like for me, lettuce. Lettuce really grows well, and we go through a ton of lettuce in my house, so it just makes sense for me to do that. And now that the weather is warming up a little bit and we're starting to get some more sun, one thing I'm doing is I've got my garden and my seedlings started for some of my tomato plants and some of my plants that need more time to grow. And within another week or so, I'm probably going to start planting and putting some more things that make the garden official. And I'll try and post some of that on my Facebook page. But if you want to save some money, you get yourself a couple bucks worth of seeds, and you take care of it, and you have a really nice garden that you could pull from all season long. And there's nothing quite like pulling a tomato off a plant that you grew, that has never seen refrigeration, that's not trucked in from Mexico or California or some other part of the country, and it's something that is just vine ripened, that's in season. Totally amazing. Number 5, make a list and stick to it. This also going back to shopping the sales flyer. Again, if you're going around a store willy-nilly, not paying attention, don't really have an idea, you're going to either buy things that you don't need, or you're not going to buy enough of certain things, or you're going to miss out on something and you have to go make another trip. Or you're more apt to buy impulse items. You'll see something, you go, oh, well, I'll just throw that in the carriage anyway. No, you've already got your sales flyer. You've made a list of what you want. This is because based on what you want to eat for your OMADs for the week, and you're going to stick to it. This kind of helps you from going out and buying all of these impulse items that you really don't need. So that's something to consider too. And, in the restaurant, we live and die by our lists. We have prep lists, we have order lists, and we stick to them. And we don't just buy things because it's so hard to make a profit in a restaurant. We don't just go and buy things and say, well, I want this because I really like to have it. No, we have a specific purpose for it that week or that day, and we use it. So I recommend you doing that at home as well to save a little bit of extra money. Number 6, this one's pretty obvious. Avoid restaurants. Even the fast food restaurants, it seems like you're getting a good deal, but when you break it down, you're not. And even with the fast food restaurants, it will never taste as good as a nice home cooked meal. I know that life gets in the way sometimes, and sometimes you just need a break from cooking, or sometimes with your schedule, the way things are, you have no choice but to go out today and have a meal, even if it is at McDonald's. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But for people that go out to eat, and this is according to National Restaurant Association statistics, the average American eats out 4.5 times a week. That's a lot. And when you combine that with all the other meals that you're eating, like the average American eating 3 meals a day or more, that's a lot of money. And when you think of it, usually when you make a meal at home, you usually have leftovers. Even some of the ingredients, if you don't quite use them, you can repurpose them for something else. When you go out to eat, you might get an extra meal out of it, but that's it. And it really does add up. So if you want to save some money when you're doing OMAD, treat yourself once in a while to a restaurant. Don't make it an every other day occurrence. You'll find you'll really save money. And number 7, be mindful of your portion sizes. I got, for $1.39 a pound, a whole pork loin from the grocery store, and it was cost me around $10. It was good size. I could look up the exact weight on it, but for our size family, I got 3 family size roasts and 14 pork chops out of that, and I paid $10 for that. Okay, now the pork chops aren't this thick, and obviously, and the roasts aren't 7 pounds a piece, but it's enough for what we would have. So in other words, if you're mindful of your portion sizes, if you're not sitting down eating the 18-ounce bone-in ribeye every single night, then you're going to be okay. For most people, 4 or 5 ounces, or about the size of a deck of cards, for any sort of meat, any protein on your plate is more than enough for what your body needs. Anything more than that, and you're really starting to overdo it. And in many cultures, particularly in Europe, like Italy, France, Greece, where these countries who have been known to have the supercentenarians, the people who live well past 100 years old, meat is more like a garnish. It's more like just a little tasting, because meat is raised the right way, which makes it expensive. And so people utilize other foods. And I'm not telling you how to eat. You eat how you want. But with the price of, wild caught fish and proteins, and, even if you don't, or just regular conventionally raised animal products, or non-animal products, the bigger the portion, the more money it's going to cost you. So sometimes we eat with our eyes first, or as my grandmother would say, our eyes are bigger than our stomach. So we feel we need this huge portion, and then we'll sit down and we get about 3/4 of the way done, and we're so stuffed beyond belief. Again, knowing your body, knowing about approximately how much you need to eat, which will fill you up, you'll be able to gauge better what size of a portion, especially on the expensive ingredients of what you need. And yes, of course, it's great to have a treat once in a while. Great to get the big steak for a special summer treat that you eat and devour. Enjoy it. But for your everyday, that adds up. And cutting back on some of your portion sizes while still getting a full OMAD plate or OMAD meal, it's definitely doable. So these are just some things to consider. Excuse me, I'm fighting a little bit of a cold here today. One thing that some people decide to do with the savings that they have from cutting back, particularly when they switch to 1 meal a day, is upgrading their ingredients. You may decide to go for the wild caught fish, or more of the pasture-raised chicken and eggs, or grass-fed beef. Again, it's not a requirement on this way of eating, because it's not a diet. And it does taste better. It is slightly better for you. But there's nothing wrong with saying, I'm just going to stick to conventional stuff. I'm going to wait for it's on sale, and I'm going to use this as a way to not only get myself in shape and lose weight and have my health improve, but I also need to save a little bit of money. And I hope that these 7 tips were helpful for you today. And if you have any other tips, I'd love to hear about it in the comments, or find me on Facebook and add some comments to our page. That about wraps it up for me today. I really hope you like these videos, and we have a lot more content coming, so don't forget to hit like if you like the video you saw today. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and you'll be notified of more videos when we post them. And also don't forget to check out the official OMAD Dad Facebook page, where we have a lot more content in there as well. And I give you samples of some of the meals that I eat. I know a lot of beginners have a lot of questions, particularly with that. And we have a lot of stuff going on there. So with that, I'm going to say have a great day and happy OMAD, and we'll see you very soon.